stupid. Nice.
That's weird.
I see what you mean about the ultrasound now. Actually, now that I've actually like looked at my,
You do look like you're in a womb.
What is your camera today?
it's just like a built-in one on my laptop because I'm at my mum's, so I haven't got my usual camera. So at least you're not getting like the ghost image.
That's nice.
Because you use your laptop instead of a phone.
Yeah. Well, I use like a desktop webcam when I'm at mine, but now I'm just using the one that's built into my laptop. But the only reason that I got my my other webcam was because I don't like having my laptop screen and my like desktop screen together. Which I suppose really now I've said it doesn't seem very relevant.
Speaking of irrelevancy, Pat, why'd you pick this film?
Right, so where you were talking about you hadn't seen like many Hitchcock films, and we hadn't actually picked one yet, so I thought, why not pick probably one of my favorite ones? Nice to see that it sort of had like a mixed reaction for whatever reason, whether it's age or
I was disappointed it was a Hitchcock film. I thought he was supposed to be a good director.
I feel bad because you kind of picked it for my benefit, and I hated it. Sorry.
Yeah, so but I was glad to just sit there and watch it again, even though there's a couple of uncultured swines here.
Hello. Howdy.
Called out.
Now, I must admit, man, that scene at the start where like they're in the bird shop and just like the dialogue between the two of them, I was kind of sat there like, this isn't. I don't remember this. I remember this being a really good film, but this doesn't look like it's going that way.
I think the thing with that is
years and years ago.
I forgot about that opening scene as well, purely because all those scenes of the birds attacking were the ones that always sort of sprung out at me.
Yeah.
So all the sort of stuff to begin with sort of faded into the background.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, like the big difference for me, like between, because I was saying earlier, like a parallel for me is that I saw the Amityville Horror when I was really, really young, and I spent like probably like over 10 years thinking like this is like the Amityville Horror is one of the scariest films of all time, and then I watched it when I was at uni and I was like, oh my god, this is awful. Like this like, I don't know why I didn't find this funny. And it's like a similar thing because I've spent all these years from when I was like probably about 14 thinking like, oh, The Birds is a masterpiece, it's one of the best horrors ever, and then I watched it this time and I was like, oh.
I think age has a lot to do with the fact that back when it first came out, it was considered sort of something that helped pioneer that sort of film, that sort of film type. And it's sort of grown into like a B-movie horror now with all these young kids watching it.
Yeah, and Humphrey though.
I think that's an interesting thing about it though, because like if you look at the horror films that came before it, you either had like really subtle stuff or it was like creature features, and I'm not really sure like where the bird sits in that. Like, I don't know, like it's kind of a creature feature, but
yeah, I'd say it is a creature feature, but it's sort of built off of sort of this stop motion figure sort of.
Well, you know what? I thought what Simon said was quite interesting. He said, when we were talking about it, he said that most horror movies and sci-fi movies were kind of like the monster was this otherworldly creature that was completely fictitious thing, a giant something or something from another planet. In this case, this is one of the first ones that actually was just like, no, these are just birds. It's not a giant anything. There's nothing exaggerated, nothing done differently about them. They're just birds and they want to kill you, and that's it. It's something that everyone could will relate to in a degree. That's like everyone sees a bird every day or something, and it was a more like a rational fear brought to life, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob, were you okay with all the seagulls? Was it?
Well, so this is the thing, right? So like, because in my memory, I had it as this like amazing film. I was a bit worried about watching it this time in Brighton because I was thinking at some point there's going to be a seagull at my window when I'm watching this.
It's just going to be looking in and picking the glass.
It's going to be
Yeah.
like the dog in The
that's
Simpsons. It's going like.
Yeah.
Is this just based off? It was inspired by a true event, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I read about this. Like,
What, birds?
wasn't it inspired by like loads of dead birds washing up on a beach or something?
Oh, right. I guess.
I thought it was a bird attack.
Oh, it was an attack.
Yeah, I'm assuming Emmanuel's got more because I don't know.
No, Camilla's got more, but she ain't saying.
I read it off Wikipedia.
To be fair, Wikipedia is quite a reliable source, like compared to us. So,
Yeah, right.
Like most things, really.
Ooh, I like a lot of the trivia, but we can go through that later. There's so much goodness. Anyway, carry on. I was gonna say, yeah, when you were talking about of the time, obviously our experiences change a lot. How we perceive things, and there were some things. Oh, Dan's off camera and mute, so I don't know if you're there. But there were some things he was saying that I felt was very like zeitgeist, like of the times, and I was just like, but you can't view it as, well, I wouldn't view it as we are now of these times, because it wasn't of these times, and at the times this is freaking great. It's just like when you talked about the Monsters and B movies, Psycho was the first one that just made the normal next door neighbor, obviously he wasn't normal, into a villain, but like a villain, but a monster. And it's just like, this is a similar vein where it's just like taking something just everyday, mundane, and turning it into a fear.
Yeah.
And I think the subtle, not the subtleness, the kind of skill of doing that, and also at the same time doing multiple things at once. I kind of like how he was messing with the rom-com genre. Like the first, like the first hour of the film is a rom-com until crap starts happening.
It is a bizarre rom-com.
And then it turns into a horror.
No, the beginning bit does feel like it could be like a Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movie. But it's just, what is going on? And then they hate each other, and then they fall in love. But except it gets really weird and bad stuff.
Hang on. It got weird before the birds.
Yeah, that's what those movies are like, though. They're always just a bit odd anyway. Not as weird as this one, though.
Yeah.
I found her. This isn't like factoring in to like my score, because I'm sort of like, I'm fine with her doing it, kind like in concept, kind of. It's just the way everyone reacts to it. Like it's like fine, but it's making me go, hang on a minute, because she buys these birds, with the intent to prank him. And so she's going to leave it in his apartment, like in his doorway.
Break in.
And so,
break in the house.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, hold on. Before that, so she goes to her apartment. She goes to his apartment after checking up on his license plate through her father's like newspaper, and so she finds out his home address without his knowledge. Goes to leave a bird cage in front of his door. Very, very luckily, runs into his neighbor who goes, oh, he's not going to be here until Monday. I don't think you should leave the birds here. So he's in Bodega Bay. It's roughly like 2 miles. It's roughly like 2-hour drive away. Yeah. So, and so she's like, okay, fine. So she makes the drive up there, talks to a postman, goes, hey, where's this guy live? And he's like, oh yeah, no, that way. And she's like, cool, can I hire a boat? Because I want to leave a fucking letter for his little sister. By the way, I'm going to go find. So she goes and finds a teacher, asks the teacher what the kid's name is. She goes, who are you? And she goes, I don't know him. Yeah. And she goes, I guess it's none of my business. And then She goes back, gets on the boat, breaks into his house, leaves a bird cage in his house without his knowledge, takes the envelope she was going to leave for him, and then goes, to your kid sister, actually. Gets back in the boat, runs, and then the guy looks at her with some binoculars and goes, oh, it's her. And I was like, what the fuck?
No,
That is
what,
mental. What are you doing?
Everything you said, except the walking in the house, at the time, people wouldn't have thought that.
Do you know what, man? Like next time somebody at work tells me I'm a pain in the ass, I'm going to be like, watch the birds, and then tell me we don't need GDPR.
It's true, but like obviously we have this different experience. But at the time, like even with the lacks of security on cars and all sorts of stuff, it's just the only thing that's like obviously she's considered like not a wild child, but almost a wild child with lots of daddy's money, with nothing to do, just going around messing with people, pranking people. That's her life. That's what
That's a woman of privilege.
Yeah, but that's what she kind of like gets happy on. Not gets off, but she has a good time on.
She might have it, yeah.
and all the kind of the post office people, the other people, all that kind of stuff. If you're in a trusted community of stuff, no one's gonna think much of some well-to-do lady. Like she doesn't look dodgy. Why wouldn't I tell her? Like the only thing that's really shows of like how much she just doesn't care is that she walked into the guy's house even though she doesn't know him. But saying that, like the group of probably people she's kind of gone around with and done pranks with probably used to do that all the time, even though it's wrong.
Oh yeah, I don't.
Probably doesn't faze her.
I think to the film's credit, they set her up pretty early on to like establish that she's someone who would do this. So I'm like, okay, this is all mental to me, but fine. I believe you would do this. That's cool. But I was like, because I don't know if it's like so I was trying to go like, is it like a time thing where like 60 years ago this was acceptable? But like his reaction to seeing her through the binoculars, I was like, I'm pretty sure 60 years ago, breaking and entering was still a fucking problem. And criminal lawyers would probably take a bit of a dim view on that. But it was also the teacher going, who are you? And she's like, I don't even fucking know him. And she was like, fair enough, I'm in the wrong for asking. And I was like, what?
To be fair, she didn't break and enter.
Play.
Oh no, she did.
She just opened the door.
She entered.
Yeah,
she
unlawfully.
Yeah.
It
wasn't.
She entered a house that was not hers without permission.
This is.
She didn't ask to let me in.
I feel like it probably would still be breaking and entering, just because like I remember there was like a protest in a McDonald's down here once, and like somebody threw loads of paint over the floor, and they got done for criminal damage, and they were like, but we didn't damage anything, and then the judge said no, but damage doesn't have to be permanent to be damage. So I think it'd be the same thing. You probably would be breaking still.
Honestly, when they show the shot of him going from the barn, by the way, also quite lucky, he goes to the barn and directly goes into the room she's left the cage in to come straight back out. When I thought when he was going to come out, he was going to have a gun. What the fuck? but
yeah, I wasn't surprised at his reaction because they already, like you said, they've already set her up, and he knows about her already, like a lot about her antics. He's probably just smiling and laughing like, you came all the way down here to prank me.
See, I'd be going, you came all the way here to prank me. Are you fucking mental?
Yeah, but it's not you, it's Mitch.
Oh, I know. No, I know.
But I get you. I do get you.
I'm just saying, if you had, that was your first time meeting him in a bird shop, and you were like, you're a bit of a prick. And she's like, well, you're a bit of a fucking conceited diddle. And I'm like, I didn't break an enter. I'd be pretty angry, especially if they went, oh yeah, specifically for your kid's sister, by the way. Oh, here's Kathy. And it's like, I didn't tell you her name. You had to go around and find information out about me, which someone's just given. Like, I'll be pretty grumpy about that. What the fuck?
I wouldn't blame you.
That's what it used to be like. Like sort of small communities would sort of gossip about other people, whether it be their identity or whatever.
Small communities had no respect for data protection. That's the problem.
Yeah, no.
Well, it was way before that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But like,
50 years.
it's even the same like where my mum grew up in Ireland. Like pretty much everyone in that sort of mile radius knew everything about everyone. That's why I prefer to live in an area where nobody knows me.
Like Tilbury.
Precisely.
It's an interesting thing, really, isn't it? Because it's like, I don't know, one thing that is quite nice about sort of going back and watching old films like this is just like seeing how attitudes have changed so much. But I do agree with Alec. Like some of it's just like, I don't know if you'd be this like accommodating to somebody doing this.
What I would
over
say,
for dinner. It's meet my family. Here's my mum.
what I
How
would
do you
say
know
is,
this
that was
person?
funny.
I met her in court, and then she broke into my house.
if they remade it in the modern day, they would have to completely rewrite it.
Yeah.
You'd have to report a data breach and
Well, like my mum always tells me stories about like my granddad, and like my granddad used to like help out in like the community, and he'd go to like houses of people like he knew and go, I'm gonna take my kids to the park. Do you want me to take your kids along as well? And they'd be like, yeah, cool. No one thought anything of it, and he'd just take them all to the park. And like, obviously that's fucking dodgy as fuck today, but like that's just something that he was doing to be nice. He was just taking the kids out for like, you know, just to the playground or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you couldn't do that today. That'd be fucking weird. But like, much more trusting time.
You have to fill out a risk assessment form.
Who the fuck are you? Have you got a DBS check?
Yeah.
Just imagine in like another 20 years' time watching this and chatting about it again, attitude to be even further from what it was in the 60s.
Could you imagine you're at the fucking park and this old man comes up with like about 10 kids? He's like, which ones are yours? And he's like, none of them.
Taking them for a walk, and he's like,
are we Pied Piper? Huh? What'd you say, Dan? What'd you say, Dan?
I said, call the police.
Yes.
But yeah, that's
Call the police.
in the 60s.
Too nice.
In the 60s,
All right,
it'd be
kids,
like,
back in the van.
In the 60s, it'd be like, oh, what a nice bloke. Now, fucking nonce.
Yeah. The what? He fell?
No, the one where the guy, like, they remade it as well. I can't remember what it's called.
I don't know, but is it a film we watched? We'll figure it out in a minute. The real life adaptation, the real life event inspiration. It was partly inspired by true events of a mass bird attack on the seaside town of Capitola in California. August 18, 1961, so 2 years before the film.
That's interesting.
When Capitola residents awoke to a scene that seemed straight out of a horror movie, hordes of seabirds were dive bombing their homes, crashing into their cars, and spewing half-digested anchovies onto lawns. Alfred Hitchcock heard of this event and used it as research material for his film, which was then made in progress. The real cause of the bird's behavior was toxic algae, but that was not known back in the 1960s.
That's amazing.
To be fair, birds are fucking scary because in Australia there are I can't remember what they're called, plovers or like they're like a kind of like raven or something, but they
It's
like
already scary.
they like tip their feathers with like poison, and they just fucking like attack you.
Oh my
And
god.
there was like a woman, I think this year she was carrying her baby and she got attacked by a plover, and like she dropped her baby and stuff. Like it was really
Attacked
fucked
by a
up.
what?
It's like a kind of raven. I think it's called a plover, Plover. But like they will literally like cover their feathers with poison and like fucking dive bomb you.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
That's crazy, man.
But like the one happened this year, so like birds are fucking scary.
Australia's scary.
Where was this?
Australia,
Ah.
Everything in Australia wants to kill you.
yeah, including
Great white
points.
shark.
Maybe you just don't live there.
Well, that's what Eb did, and now she's just bored.
Well, I've just found out
Go to
something
the-
about the birds.
The Burbs.
Apparently there was
Where does
supposed
the
to be a
word-
remake produced by Michael Bay,
Oh,
Oh,
no.
of course there was.
Oh,
Exploding
no.
birds.
but it got thrown out.
Oh, thank fuck.
Yeah, he saw that explosion at the gas station. I was like, I can do better than this.
Can I just say that one at the gas station is fucking ridiculous.
That was fun.
I
That
love
was
that
fun.
little shot as well with the seagulls, and they're like, and I was like,
Yeah, it was
didn't
great.
plan that.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I thought that was a brilliant scene.
You couldn't
Yeah,
have
it
known that was
was.
gonna happen.
Like the,
Well, they
the-
weren't
the guy
really
with the
laughing at it. They
cigar-
just happened to be there.
They're just seagulls. They're just total assholes.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Dave Benson Phillips?
No.
He was a TV presenter. You'd probably recognise him if I showed you a picture.
Bet I
But
don't. Bet I don't.
he came to Brighton like a few years ago to do a wrestling show, and while he was in
Oh,
Brighton,
that guy.
a seagull mugged him, and it like it made like papers and everything. Let me see if I can find one.
Well,
Like
Speaking
a
of
bit-
wrestling
Look, he's phoning.
involved in this, the leading woman in this, does she not remind you of Mandy Rose?
I didn't think that, to be honest.
I had to look up to see if they were related. They're not, but
I mean, she is related to someone we do know. You said
Dakota Johnson.
the one in 50 Shades is the granddaughter.
In Bad Times at El Royale. She's in that.
Oh, what's her name?
Yeah. And in Bad Times at El Royale, yeah. She's the
Dakota
granddaughter
Johnson.
of Melanie, the actress who plays Melanie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, interesting.
I was like, oh yeah. Yeah,
Family
makes sense.
connection.
But, one of the things I had marked it down on story for,
This will be good.
it wasn't even major. It was just kind
Who
of
wasn't
like,
wearing the right shoes?
no.
birds.
And I wonder if it was a deleted scene,
Oh,
but it felt like they skipped the scene where they got. Sorry, I'm talking too loud. Wait.
Oh,
Oh,
him.
you're sharing
him.
Psycho.
Go Seagull, Max TV legend.
Oh, there's a nice Hitchcock nod there.
Yeah.
Mugs.
Okay. But yeah, it was the. Oh, sorry, she's singing the song. Anyway, she got me feeling like a seagull, but it's
Psycho.
yeah, seagull. Did you say seagull or psycho?
Psycho.
Okay,
Seagull with a P.
Psycho.
It's a Korean song which I really like by Red Velvet. Anyway, it's called Psycho.
The
You got me
brown
feeling like a
seagull.
psycho.
It's sung by a
Anyway.
seagull.
Yeah, why not? Was how it felt like they missed a scene where they had got close enough to decide they want to be that close, because it skipped from some crap happening to the next thing you notice, Mitch and Daniels are kissing. And I was just like, I could imagine why they would get to that point, because there was some time that had elapsed between the last times we saw them, but they didn't show them actually getting close enough, like the moment they get close enough to bridge the gap between I'm showing you to my parents and I'm being cheeky, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And yes, we're close enough to trauma bond and kiss. But there was like no link. It's like they missed the scene out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there's a few times where like little things like that happen, to be honest. Because like what we were talking about with the school earlier, I think like that would have also benefited from like a little bit more padding so that you felt there was like an immediate threat of the birds getting in a little bit more.
Yeah, that was my trouble with it, because there was no urgency to get the kids out, really. Like the birds were all kind of gathering, but like, because to be fair, they do kind of set it up when the mum goes to check on her. I don't know what relation this person is to her, but she goes to check on some guy called Frank, and she finds
like guy who sells the
Frank,
bird
go
feed.
wee.
They find who sells the bird feed to the whole community.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
But they find like, the seagull. There's a seagull that's kind of killed itself trying to get through the window, and so that's what makes them go, oh, you need windows are not necessarily like enough to stop these birds, and then they're like, oh shit, we need to get the kids out. But it's like the birds aren't like swarming or anything. They, they're not going to break through the window like immediately. I don't know why there's this sudden urgency to go. We gotta move like these fucking 40 kids out right now. Everybody run! Like, get a car, go out, get your car, take them like fucking 3 at a time. Like, this is a better plan than let's all just fucking make a run for it.
I mean, it's like there's so much fear that they're not gonna think logically like that, are they?
Yeah. I do think though, like just from a filmmaking perspective as well, like the scene where they're all running away from the birds is like it's one of the scenes that's like silly enough to break the immersion, and it's just like if you'd have done anything but that, you'd have had a more coherent sort of through line of them having to get out, and you wouldn't have had to do that scene.
What's the thing? If you take 3 kids out, you go and get your car, you come back, you take 3 kids, you start moving, the birds start getting a bit more agitated, and you're like, oh fuck, and you take the kids away and you come back and you play, and the birds like actually start kind of like coming at the windows and that, and then you can kind of build it up a little more. But like this,
or have the birds come into the building, forcing them to run.
Yeah, like spend a little more sort of time on it, because like as it is, they're just sitting there, and it's like it looks threatening, but they're not actually doing anything. So it's like I don't see why there was a big urgency to get these 40 kids out of the building right now.
But I think she has the suspicion is like, look, these things could. What if one of them's bad? The whole flock of them's going to be quite deadly. So it's like she knows that don't want to take the chance. We need to get them out right now. But her stupidity was like taking them out with all the movement and all the kids all at once outside is enough to like set the birds off, which she didn't realize. But we think that because we know what to expect when something like that happens. We don't panic and run, but obviously the kids. And it's like, oh.
I just think with an animal, especially, like you kind of want to take it a little slow. You don't want to do any sudden big movements are going to provoke a reaction.
Noise, especially. Yeah.
You kind of want to go as slow as you can. I think. Sorry, Emmanuel, I'll talk to you.
Oh no, both of what you said was true. I think it didn't help that. So obviously, similar to the end, and the end of the movie actually reminds me of A Quiet Place, just for the sheer fact.
Oh, I see that actually.
Yeah, Mitch, he had to be very, very quiet and move slowly, not to trigger the birds. Now, I assume the lady on a level at the time was thinking, if we just be quiet and walk slowly, we won't startle the birds and it'll be okay. The thing is, and I feel like they did skip a scene here. The kids would have started out quietly. They didn't run until they started getting attacked. Literally, the crows just saw them and attacked them, even though they were just walking quietly.
There should have been a scene that triggered them.
Yeah, they literally there was no trigger. They just saw them and just went, let's attack, and just flew and attacked them. And then they obviously started running. So I was just like, wait, what the crap? I didn't think they would wait. Yeah, these things are just after the kids. These ones just love kids for some reason. I don't know what it is. I'm just like, man. But yeah, it was still a dumb idea. It would have been much better if they hid in the hall in like places that were less exposed to big windows and called for backup. Because at the end of the day, if Melanie went out, drove to town, got some police and some backup, some guys, they could have, and parents, they could have gone up there part by part, got the kids out.
It's a fishing village. Like, someone's got a van. Pile the fucking kids in a van. Oh shit! Sorry, that's sounding a bit. No one clip that out.
To be honest, most of them would have had trucks. When I saw the Ford 150, I was just like, that's a classic. It's been around for freaking long.
But this is the point I'm trying to make, though, is that you don't have to do the scene, because if you do the scene where they go and call the parents and they get like this big van and they like try and transport the kids back home, then it's a different scene. You don't have all the birds kind of flocking in on one of them and all that. But my thing is, if you take like reasonable measures and then it doesn't work because the birds are so vicious, then that kind of raises the stakes a little more. And it's like if everyone, and it's like if everyone's clever and it still fucks up, that's a lot more dangerous than people are making a stupid decision and it fucks up.
Yeah, like Melanie with curiosity almost killed her. Killed the cat.
To be honest, I think she deserved it.
No, that is rude. She did not deserve that.
Are you talking
Stop
about
being rude, Dan.
Are you talking about the main woman?
Yeah.
To be fair, the main woman can tank about 40 birds attacking her at once in a small room where there's no other protection. So I say, chuck her out there. She can take 40 of them at once. Frank's a fucking pussy. Like, he can't deal with one seagull. Melanie, she can just take on all these crows. Like, fuck you. Sorry, I'll stop talking.
But yeah, I didn't like it from the beginning.
Oh, man.
To be honest, I felt like if they all died at the end, I would have been like, okay.
Oh man, that's so sad. Did you not feel for the dead teacher when the kid was crying?
Probably the only person, maybe.
No, she gave details.
But she was just collateral damage.
No,
it was.
That's the bit that got me.
She was a brunette and also really fit. So, sorry.
I'd be really interested to know like what percentage of people have cried at the birds, because I'm sure you're in quite a small minority.
It was just that moment, that kid, she did really well, and she talked about how much that teacher meant to her, and she saved her life, but she's now dead, and I was just like, no.
You get an F in saving your teacher's life. How do you feel? Brutal.
She was probably the only character I thought she needed sympathy. The rest of them, I was just like, no.
Well, this is kind of the other thing. This is what I was saying to Rob earlier. I don't feel like Tippi Hedren's character being like a rich playboy prankster, playgirl prankster. I don't feel like it's ever really like that relevant to the story past like getting her to Bodega Bay. Like, I don't feel like it's ever like called into question or anything. Like I don't know. They spend a lot of time characterizing her, and then they go, and now birds, and then it's like it's just kind of not. It's not like relevant to the rest. It could just be anyone. So I'm like, why did you bother? If that makes sense.
I think. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, the supporting characters in the film are just really frustrating because they seem really dumb. What? You said there was a bird that attacked someone? Oh my god! It's like, Sharp, please.
I get you. Even though it's realistic, it's annoying to watch. So I don't blame you.
I think it's like I don't think it's the characters so much. I think it's just that the dialogue is like
the dialogue.
It's kind of like Uncanny Valley, but in dialogue, if that makes sense.
Wait, Uncanny. Oh, I haven't seen Uncanny Valley.
Oh no, it's like it's more of a phenomenon. It's like when you see Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One, and you go, something's not quite right about this.
Yeah,
that's Uncanny Valley, because he's not right. He's a computer generated image.
Yeah, it's like when you see something that's like super realistic, but because of like animal instincts, you know it's not real. Like that's
like Blowout.
Oh, that is a point though. I can't believe that you've given this 3 times the story score that you gave Blowout. 3 times, and you gave Mars Attacks 2.3 times the story score.
But Mars Attacks was very well done. I just didn't like it. Blowout was a hot mess.
Oh, dude.
Like
the birds is also a mess. I just want to say,
because they're all attacking.
Yeah, that shit never.
There's a meme I like. I wouldn't put it to Blowout because it's not this bad. Don't get me wrong. But it's like a hot mess in a dumpster fire in a train wreck. It was just trying so much. But anyway, enough.
I just want to point out that before you carry on, the entire story of the birds relies on Melanie very fortuitously running into Mitch's neighbor in the same 2-minute period that he's in the elevator. It is very fucking lucky that this happens, because there'd be no movie after that.
Or she wouldn't be involved in the movie.
It is an enormous contrivance.
Suspension of disbelief. Artistic license.
Disbelief for this, but not Blowout. I demand a read, sir.
No, Blowout is just sorry. Anyway,
blown out proportions.
I get what you're saying about the character, Alec. I think the main idea of her character and the setup of her character was basically for the rom-com element of it, because he obviously wanted to take a rom-com film and then subvert it into a horror. So like everything is kind of, it seems usual, seems normal. You see like foreboding things and things that are like a bit out of place. And of course, because you've seen the poster, you know what this film's about, but you don't know how it's gonna start. And then eventually, obviously, it all goes down, and you're just like, "Oh, this is how it starts." Wait, at a kid's birthday party? What? The kids, not the kids.
Most of them survived.
And for anyone who's seen WandaVision, for the kids.
Don't sign WandaVision for this.
I think the best bird attack is the first one, where she's just going along in the boat, and the bird just goes. Smacks him.
That was the most realistic.
It's because the bird is the same size throughout, whereas in the other ones the eagles go from being that big to that big between shots.
But no, it's the fact that it's her in her, and she's like, oh, and she don't even go like, we're fucking hell. She just
I would have loved that scene.
Could you imagine the pissing and moaning you could get in with the seagull, just like, cunt.
I can't believe they've done this.
She's got a bit of blood, a bit of tomato sauce probably down her head, and she's just like, oh, hit me in the head.
To be honest, she might have been slightly out of it, but yeah.
And the seagulls. No, wait, I don't even know the fucking rest of it. What's bad lip reading, and it's Yoda, and he's like,
Oh,
and the seagulls
poke at my head, not
Not
fun. I
fun.
said, seagulls, stop it now.
oh, that one. Oh, that is great. And then he does the. Oh, someone needs to find that and post it back and post it in the group.
Dude, some of those bad lip
That's-
reading songs are actually like good songs. Like, you know, have you heard the one that's like, even though it looks like it's the future? Do you know that one? Oh man, it's a good song. It's an actually good song.
Oh, so good. I just know the Yoda one where he's just like, I think something tripping over, and he's obviously teaching young Skywalker Luke some stuff, but he keeps, I can't remember what the lyrics are, but it's the thing is, it sounds so much like something Yoda would say.
Yeah.
Because of just how crazy he was at that point in his life. Let's go. I can't.
bloody Yodel.
Yeah, I'll find it as well and post the one I'm talking about.
No, I found an awful lot of contrivance in this one. Just like the bird swoops down and takes a guy out, and then he like drops his petrol hose, and then everyone there's like at least like, I don't know, 8 people, and they all crowd round to look where the bird's gone. No one hears the petrol still going. No one smells it. No one's like, what were you doing? Filling your car? Oh,
Wait a minute.
nobody does any of that. They're all going like, there was a bird. It's not there anymore, but I'll keep looking.
To be honest,
Moved, didn't they?
what I would say is like a lot of the people in that kind of cafe were not the type of people who would respond in a like.
Oh, it wasn't even
conducive
anyone in the
manner.
cafe.
No, at the window.
Yeah.
Window to the they were all from the cafe. Like or diner or whatnot. But point is they were all kind of built up and so riled up. They're just like, crap. They're focusing on this and forgetting the obvious thing that crap, there's gas leaking. But at the same time, they probably didn't think, wait, someone's just gonna light up and explode. They probably didn't think someone was gonna be that dumb.
No, but if you have petrol, like, it's a flammable liquid. Like, you probably want to stop pouring it. So, like, considering the amount of people there, there's about like 5 or 6 people there. I'd have expected at least one person to at least have smelled it or heard it, and then gone, oh fuck, the petrol's still going. Whoops. But they all ignore it to uselessly look at the sky, and then to the point that it goes down the road, across the street, into another car park where a guy lights a fucking cigarette and explodes. I was like, someone must have been able to stop this. Like, it's a sexy smell. Like, someone must know. Must be looking out for it.
The thing is, they would have known. I think the only people, though, in that scene who would have actually tried to do something would have been the guys who were at the pump. But they were busy trying to help out the guy and deal with whatever else was happening. But
Would he not have said,
Hmm?
thank you for helping me up, but I was pouring petrol, and
The guy was on the float. That probably wasn't
just a seagull though. You could probably tank a seagull hit and still go, stop the petrol. Fuck me.
He was out cold.
Stop the gas.
But my thing is that, like, the characters in not that it's not annoying to watch, don't get me wrong, but the people in the window, all of them seem to be the type of bystander effect people who are all waiting for someone else to do something but not do something themselves. Also, like, well, not even also, like, that's not surprising, to be honest. And with the characters that they were, the only people I thought would have done something were already trying to do something, but they obviously forgot about the hose. Just dealing with all the rest of the crap.
That seems really weak to me.
They did try to tell the guy, because it was too late by the time they realized, wait, that guy's lighting up. It's like, huh? We got it. No, wait, dude, stop. Obviously,
Don't
he
drop
ain't
your
listening.
match. And he's like, what?
Huh? And then he realizes it's too late, and he's like, "Oh crap!
I just think there's a lot of space between like it pouring out of the petrol station across the road into a car park. Someone must have gone, oh fuck. Petrol hose. What was he doing when he got attacked by a seagull? Oh, he was filling his car up. Maybe we should deal with that. And then pointlessly look at the sky.
I mean,
Yeah.
it makes for a great time.
It
Because you know
Yeah.
what's going to happen. It just made me laugh so much.
I gotta
was
say,
just like-
the phone booth scene, I was crying because
Yeah.
all these seagulls that just balloon out to the size of a pterodactyl, and they're right behind her head, like that. And then some guy, and he's got blood in his face, and he's like, I was laughing. I was laughing really hard.
What I don't understand is why she tries to get out when they're clearly trying to attack her. And
I like that she goes in at all. Like, I'll call. Yeah, good point.
The thing is that, yeah, she doesn't have any kind of good sense throughout most of the
Yes,
movie.
the whole film.
Yeah, but so it matches her character. So there you go. And it's
Yeah,
like, I get that you want to be with someone, like be with other people, but please stay in the booth. Yes, keep
You're
going
only
back in the booth. There is no point in going out.
Miss, you can tank like 40 seagulls. We need you for this. You are the best seagull shield we have. Everyone else can only take so many and then they get killed. But you have the supernatural ability to withstand 40 pecks from a seagull that can take out a door. Like you can...
That's a good point. When that happened, man.
I was expecting the pranking to be like kind of relevant because I was like, she's got contacts at the newspaper. Can they call someone in extra? Is she gonna do like a prank to kind of distract the birds or something to like kill the birds or something? Like, this is what I mean. Like her characterization, they do like a really, really good job of characterizing her. And I was like, okay, like everyone else is fucking weird, but like I get, I mean, you also weird, but you're at least characterized. So I was expecting it to be relevant later, but it like never is. And she could just be anybody.
Yeah, besides calling her dad and trying to convince him, but then he's just like, "No,
Daddy, can you bring a helicopter? You'll fucking make sushimi out of these things." Like,
her dad didn't even believe her, to be frankly honest. But saying that, like, her character wasn't. No offense to it's offense to the character. I don't care. Her character wasn't smart enough to really like do any of that stuff. She's a very impulsive person who does not have a strong kind of, how is it, like, she's not someone who stays calm under like situations. She does the most important things and tries to save the kids, but she did well by obviously going into school to warn them and being quiet about it, but she doesn't have the best reasoning skills.
this is the thing. This is why I was kind of like, why did you spend so long telling me about her then? Because if she could just be anyone, like, well, why am I following this person if she's not? If it's not relevant later, why did you set it up? Other than to tell me why she's there, if that makes sense. Like, actually, while we're doing that, I want to set a precedent because we talked about it in Leon. So I'd like to bring attention to something else, and it's not very nice.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you all know where I'm going. Oh no, I just searched birds and it went, oh, you mean the animal? And I was like, no, I'm in the fucking film.
I actually don't know where you're going with this, but
I know exactly where you're going.
Ah,
I'm not sure.
He's going to start talking about Hitchcock and his
cock.
He needed more athletic tape, I'll tell you that.
and his unethical treatment of his female characters.
Well, also unethical treatment of his birds, because apparently he fed them seed which had like whiskey in it, which was what they used to make them sit still enough to do the shots, the very foreboding shots. The very foreboding shots of the birds going are all because they're fucking drunk.
Oh man. No.
From Wikipedia,
Uh-oh.
there was controversy in relation to the nature of Alfred Hitchcock and Tippi Hedren's relationship during the filming of The Birds. Hedren maintained that there were several incidents where Hitchcock acted inappropriately towards her. The cast and crew described his behaviour as obsessive, and Hedren claimed that he suddenly grabbed me and put his hands on me. It was sexual. Hedren stated that she rejected Hitchcock's advances on numerous occasions. Following the alleged rejection, Hedren was injured during the filming of the phone booth attack scene and consequently suffered cuts to her face from a pane of glass shattering on her. Further, she insisted she was misled about the logistics of the final attack sequence, where mechanical birds were replaced with real ones at the last minute. It has been suggested that Hitchcock's deliberate inflicting of injury was revenge for Hedren's spurning of his advances. Hitchcock also signed Hedren to a 7-year contract, which he stated restricted her ability to work. These allegations were not brought to light until after Hitchcock's death. Although they have never been confirmed, they have widely been reported, including by Hedren's co-star Rod Taylor.
There is truth to that. She actually came out and said he basically ruined her career, but she was determined not to have him ruin her life. So she sort of quit acting for the most part. In The Birds, for whatever reason, Hitchcock decided to send the birds crazy and throw them or put her in a room with the birds to make her scared. So that when they were shooting the film, her fear would be more authentic.
What the crap?
Also, as a final thing, the controversy of this relationship is explored in the 2012 HBO/BBC film The Girl. Hedren's daughter, Melanie Griffith, claims that Hitchcock's abuse extended to her when he played a prank by gifting 6-year-old Melanie with a wax figure of her mother in a miniature coffin.
Jesus.
What?
I'm not just going to do this with films I don't like, but I feel like that.
Old directors are terrible, man.
Yeah.
I think Hitchcock had this reputation because like some of his best films all have this, like the Hitchcock blonde is what they called her, his leading lady. He always go after like a woman who looked a certain way. So the film Vertigo, which is something I was considering picking because it's all about that, about this one man's obsession with his dream woman per se. That's this vision of a blonde that looks a certain way, and it's quite autobiographic because the fact that Hitchcock himself was kind of like obsessed and kind of like in a really weird and creepy way about that vision of a woman that he wanted to be perfect, and Tippi Hedren was one of the first victims of that.
That's messed up.
I like his work, but he's a bit of a scumbag. Sorry, Dad.
Not unlike Jean-Luc Besson, but
yeah.
No, wait, Luc Besson. My bad.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Jean-Luc Picard. No, he's great.
He was a scumbag.
Another director.
Yeah, if you watch The Exorcist, the guy who directed that was a piece of shit, and also was it called? You also they make a movie of it.
They know the.
I thought it was Muse.
We know the bloke who made The Exorcist was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He killed the woman.
Well, not just that, he used to get blank rounds and shoot them at them to scare the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Didn't care that the fact that woman's back was gonna get blasted because of the fact he said to him, "Oh yeah, just pull it as hard as you can." The Shining, that's it. The guy who did The Shining was
The Shining.
The Shining.
Careful, laddie. You want to get sued? So yeah, So So yeah, no, this was a very, very hard one to score because there's obviously sort of things that are going to pull me out because I'm obviously you guys seem to all be familiar with the birds, but this was my first time like with it.
Oh, it's
You
my
guys
first
are all
time
familiar
with
with
it as
birds.
well.
Yeah, I step out my front door every day and I see them fly
No
past me.
mental. So obviously I'm like, oh, you've just filmed birds flapping about and then superimposed it on top. But it's like that's not something that would have been known. Like that would have looked. And to be fair, it does actually look really good when that. Well, I don't want to say really good, but it does actually look kind of half convincing with the sparrows. Because I was like, if I was like 60 years ago, then yeah, that would probably fool me. But
I think what doesn't help is, isn't there a black and white version?
Probably, yeah.
Black and white?
Might be, but I haven't seen one.
If it's in black and white, you wouldn't notice the birds being like superimposed as such.
Yeah,
It'd be harder to tell the edges.
That's why he made Psycho in black and white, because he could hide the seams a bit clearer and better with that.
Because
sorry, I was just going to say it was also because of the fact that, well, with blood and that, if it's not red, then it's not blood.
It's not as violent. No, you're right.
No, so they could get away with more.
Yeah.
that's the thing. I didn't want to score it too harshly because when it came out, it would have looked good enough to be cutting edge. And to be fair, when I was reading up on like critic responses, like none of them mentioned the birds look fucking shit. So like I think I think that look, yeah. So I don't want to be too harsh on it, but yeah. So I think the actors did a good job in the sparrow scene. I don't know if they did the best in other bird
so when they go
scenes.
like, there's just random shit flying around.
The phone booth scene was where it got fucking silly for me.
I think there's like, I don't know. I think because I kept looking at the sort of like the superimposed birds, and I was like, given this is like 60 years old, like although it looks a bit wafty like by today's standards, you can kind of like you can get away with it if the actors underneath it are reacting to it, but they weren't. They were kind of like just doing their own thing while the birds were on top of the image.
But again, they weren't. I don't think they would have known how to.
Yeah, they don't know what to expect.
It wasn't as widespread back then, so again, I didn't want to be too shitty with it.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's
That's why I gave
pretty
it a
innovative for its
6.
time, but I think that's the thing that kind of like that's what makes it look bad rather than just being like an of its time thing. Like, because yeah, it sort of like separates it all a bit more.
It's like with any monster movies of those times, it's like they never knew what the monster looked like until they went to the premiere of the film most of the time, these actors. So they were just like using their imagination to try and interact with the imaginary thing that's on the script pages of the script, rather than something that's physically on the set.
Yeah,
like the prequels.
I suppose, yeah. But what's interesting is that what you mentioned about the dating, how it looks dated. The only thing I find that's most dated about it is like the integration of the birds and the human actors, and obviously the back projection when someone's driving in the car. And it's just like it's clear as day that this is just a car on a set that with a projected screen behind them, and they filmed it that way. And that's the sort of stuff that does look dated as hell, especially when you watch it even in good HD 4K quality. It's like everything looks so good, but the projection, you can't really improve on that. It's gonna be as it was back then. But when you see, like Alex said, you see the birds that in the playground or just flapping around on inside the rafters and stuff. It's all the individual stuff of those scenes look amazing for the time, because how they managed to wrangle all these birds to do them so perfectly in those shots, whether it is a few times or more, but it just looks really good. It's just when they're attacking people, even though they've been put like two things together on the same screen, it just looks dated.
Because sorry, Rob, you seem to know this. When was Close Encounters made?
1977, I think.
So this was 14 years after?
14 years before.
Oh,
Fuck's sake. I meant before.
wait, before.
It was 9 years after Seven Samurai, and it was 14 years before Close Encounters. So I think that's
Yeah, 50, 60.
pretty amazing as a sort of comparison point.
It's amazing looking back at that, because like sort of like, I don't know, technological advances don't really happen as quick now. Like if you look at like the difference between those three, like it's like worlds apart, man.
Yeah, just look at Shang-Chi.
There were two things I appreciated in this movie when it came to the screen behind them and all that kind of stuff that Ben was talking about. One, the drive-in / screen thing was better than in Blowout.
Oh, fuck's sake.
You're making enemies tonight.
I like how they and most films do this anyway, but I like how back then, because it wasn't as, I don't think it was as common or utilized, but they kept utilizing see the screen for a moment, then see the other angle, which is the actual camera, which you could tell the huge difference, especially in 4K. You could tell that, okay, that's a beautiful shot. Oh wait, the quality's gone down. That's a screen. But also the drive-in wasn't that bad. Like it didn't seem like they were going like this. It seemed like it was like this. It seemed like they're just trying to handle the wheel because the car doesn't have grip handling and it's that old.
You know what? I'd actually agree with that.
So I was appreciative that the old lady wasn't going like this. But yeah, that was good.
One of my favorite scenes is when she's driving up to the port, when she's got the lovebirds in the back seat of the car, and they're just like, when she's turning, they're going.
That's funny.
While we're doing that, oh sorry.
Saying that there was one scene where they just weren't in the cage.
Yeah. What was all that about? I didn't think maybe they just wanted to get a good shot of them, so they took the bars off the cage so they can do it properly. I don't know.
Can I just say,
bird? She was carrying it in the house, and there were like no birds in it, and then they reappeared.
Can I just say, I really, really liked it when the kid was like, I don't know, after like they've all just been attacked by birds and they're all just fucking sitting in their house, just kind of like a bit like kind of shell shocked and that. She goes, "Can I bring the lovebirds in here?" And the mum looks at her and she's like, "Are you fucking high?" I was like, yes. I was like, thank you for being the voice of reason.
It's kid logic, you know? They did nothing. They haven't been going crazy. And to be honest, she's the only one who would have been paying much attention to them. But they're the only birds in the film that didn't do anything crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Not even once. Even though the adult logic, the mom was right. You don't take any chances. I don't blame the kids.
This is part of why I find this as confusing as it is, because I read on
never heard of that one.
I read about this where the birds are supposed to symbolize man taking advantage of nature, or like taking nature for granted, rather.
Oh yeah,
and it's sort of like, I would have never in a million fucking years picked that out.
Okay.
And it's like, it is not an element of the story once we leave the bird shop. Like, it's not, it doesn't like appeal to like a fatal flaw of a character. It's pretty much said in the bird shop and then forgotten pretty much throughout. And then the only birds that don't react angrily are the ones who are the victim of nature being taken for granted. The lovebirds who are in the cage and commodified don't ever act fucking mad about it. And it's like,
yeah,
What is if this is a theme? It's fucking shit.
I know what you're trying to say.
It's not relevant to the fucking story. It's not
It's like-
present in the story. It's not alluded to in the story. Like
a good remake could like use those ideas and expand on it and
let's
use.
call Michael Bay.
Maybe not him.
No.
But I know what you mean, because there's some really brilliant ideas that they don't really latch on to in a sense. But I do feel it still is a warning, as like, don't take nature for granted, because it's, even if it isn't like there's no actually scenes of in the film of man being very like disrespectful to the birds or anything like that, it's still implied in a sense that we should not be like.
But this is the thing. It's like I don't know. It's like the cartoon. It's like a kid. It's a really shitty kids cartoon. It's called Fern Gully. You guys probably all know.
I love
it.
Fern Gully.
That's the Avatar before it was its time.
Yeah, it's really crap.
I like it.
But that's why the main character is like a guy who's fucking working as like part of a deforestation project.
Yeah.
Because it's relevant to what's going on, and it's like.
Yeah.
So having some rich kid newspaper daughter pranks the wild child, going like, I'm just doing my own thing really, and they're like, don't take nature for granted, and she's like, I just bought some birds. I guess I am, but it's really tangential.
It's the thing though, man, because like it's like you were saying with her being like this prankster and then that not going anywhere. Like there's a lot of dialogue where it sounds like exposition, but it doesn't exposit anything. So like you could have put so many threads in to make that kind of like purpose a lot clearer. But instead you had things like, I don't know, like, oh, why are there seagulls here? There must be a storm at sea. Doesn't matter. Like and things like, oh, some of these birds are molting. I can tell because they have a hangdog expression. Doesn't matter. Like,
well, to spit, because I know I say we. It's been trashed today. But Blowout. The point about Blowout being like following a sound technician is because he's the only person who fucking recorded it. So he feels like he's going mad, or like because he's got the only information he has, and that's why it's really, really fragile. And like he has a previous like incident where his being a sound technician fucked someone up, so he's got a lot of guilt around it. And it's like his being a sound technician really relevant to the story. Her being who she is. Fuck all. Doesn't tie into fucking anything apart from why she's there.
Why?
Because it's white people.
Oh, Camilla
Stop
was saying
undermining me. Please.
It's why people like her. A
Well,
lot of people
not
like
they
her
like
and know
her.
her. Actually, yeah,
They
a
give
lot
her
of
the
people
time
know
of day
her.
because she's clearly quite
She's actually
sure of herself.
Yeah, she's
And
very known.
It gives a
popular.
reason for the mum to know who she is and be a bit suspicious.
Yeah, true.
But she could have just been any socialite and it has had the same effect. So the fact that she's a prankster is pretty irrelevant.
Yeah. But actually, no, the prankster was
Allegedly
just so she could get into the house. That's it. No,
The door was unlocked. She
No-
didn't need a reason to get into the
no one
house.
who's not a prankster and is not like her is going to just walk into someone's house they don't know, unless someone has sent them in the
To be
house.
fair, you
There's
shouldn't
no
have to
prankster.
get pranksters.
Huh?
That's just weird behavior for anybody.
It's weird. But what was I gonna say?
I'm right.
Alex wrong.
Again.
I'm right. Alex wrong.
There you
That's-
are.
Yeah, I did that. I can't remember, so never mind.
I think you guys have been very kind to the birds, and I think you should be nicer to Blowout.
And I didn't even like Blowout that much enough to.
Camilla just said blowout sucks. Sorry, that was
Oh!
Get out. You're both
I
banned.
feel like Camilla needs to pick a film.
I feel like if we're going to be mean to this film, I might give my bonus point to Blowout. Blowout was a fantastic film.
It's been all blown out proportion. That's what I said.
No.
I know it was my pick, but I do think Blowout got the meanest treatment for getting free for story. Especially when it's got
Anyway.
3 times it.
It deserved it.
It did not. This is not 3 times the story Blowout was.
I've just made multiple points about how the birds is a bit shit story wise.
Oh man. Oh man.
Also, I'm not trying to replace John, but I do think Camilla needs to pick a film.
that was almost planned.
That was a proper fucking John.
That was perfect camera work.
Yeah, that's a sign.
Romeo and Juliet.
It's a sign, baby.
Beauty and the Beast.
Why can't I remember what I was gonna say? It's related to something someone said, but
Sorry, I was talking about Blowout, and then I was talking about how the character's not relevant. I don't know if this is helping at all. Birds go flappy flappy.
Points.
Nomination points.
That's a point actually. So one thing that really wasn't helping me with this is like, I think I've told you guys before, but like even English films, I always watch the subtitles on because it helps me concentrate a bit. And a lot of the subtitles for this were like in brackets, flapping intensifiers. I was like, I can't take it seriously if I'm reading that.
yeah, because it was only like it was either English closed caption or English SDH, and not everyone everywhere had SDH, like the standard subtitles with no closed caption.
Yeah.
So that was funny. I just ignored it. I eventually have because I watched it in 3 parts.
3, really?
Yeah, because lack of time and been being busy. I watched the first part on my TV, then second part on the tablet, and then third part back on the TV. And eventually, like halfway through it, I realized I could change the subtitles to English SDH and get rid of the flapping intensifiers because that was distracting. Can this get off the screen? So yeah, but yeah, I get that. Oh, it was funny though. Yeah.
All right, Mars Attacks did not deserve a 9.
It deserved a good score. That's what it did.
It got what it got.
And guess what you fucking deserve?
Oh boy, shut the fuck up.
Oh man. I think in terms of like favorite scene, because why not?
What a segue.
Oh,
no one gave Mars Attacks a 9 for story. I'll take that back.
My favorite scene is to be honest, it has to be there's 2 actually. Yes. One of them I think might be yours. But my first one is the one that made me cry. The little kid actor. I just thought that was really touching. Anyway, and then actually no, just really good. The one that was really touching is the part at the end where the exposition pays off of the talking about like the mother leaving and stuff. Just the background information rather. Because at the end, she gets a kind of motherly treatment and motherly affection that she's never had before. And they exchange that look and it's just like, yeah.
That is actually something that I liked about it.
You know.
I know. She says she didn't have a mum, really, and they have that bit of a kind of a moment where he oversteps and, you know, she makes him feel bad, and then she has this interaction with the mum and they get a little bit of a camaraderie together, and I was like, that's quite nice. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. As a little aside, I also, it's not a favorite scene, but it did make me laugh because it's just like, is when the guy was just like, yeah, since she was staying, I invited her to dinner. And she's just like, what the crap? What? He's just like, yes. Yeah, I thought it would be great. Because he likes getting back at her for all the lying and crap she's doing. He's just like, look, I know you're lying out, you're freaking, but let me put you in this awkward situation. See how you react. And I just kind of like that. Just like, look, don't go walking up into people's homes and doing all this nonsense and just lying. Just be a little more truthful.
What a shitty punishment. I know you just broken into my house and left a letter for my little sister, who's basically a child who's you don't know, and whose name I didn't give you. I'm now gonna feed you. Roast beef for you, madam.
Fair enough. She didn't want to escape though. You can tell she's like, no, I'm okay. No, to dinner. It's like, what? Even the fact that she was like, yeah, I knew Thingy from school. You knew her from school, did you? Okay.
You used to teach me, it just really aged me.
Yeah, and then we find out that obviously they were a thing. He's just like, yeah, of course he knows you were not no school friend. It's like, he knows.
Right, so we've heard Ben's favourite scene, we've heard Emmanuel's favourite scene. Do we want to do favourite scenes for...
Oh, what was Ben?
Ben's was... Oh, I don't want to speak for Ben. Ben, do you want to do this?
What was my favourite scene? I can't remember.
Oh my god, I've got to do everything.
Definitely.
Ben's favourite scene was when they were driving around and the budget...
Oh, that bit, yeah. That was my favourite comedic scene.
Oh, okay. I didn't realise there were categories.
Yeah, the little lovebirds in the car when she's driving down the lane, and then.
Sorry, Ben. Do you want to give us your actual favourite scene, and not
think...
your favourite comedic scene, because they're different things?
Yeah, that was my favourite intentionally funny scene. My favourite unintentionally funny scene was when the gas station explodes and Tippi Hedren is watching it from inside the cafe and she's like, and then there's it's more like the bad editing of the time. It's just really dated, but obviously back then it probably was like, oh wow, she's so frightened and distraught about it. But now it just seems like really cheesy and hammy. But the best, like, seriously good scene, I think, was this when they slowly get out of the school, just walking slowly, and all the birds are on the playground and all that. I think that was the most effective one. It's just a really powerful image.
Oh, the kids get attacked.
No, before that, it's like the lead up to it. Before you just see all the crows just one by one start to stand on the
and then she looks around and it's just like, oh crap.
There's one, and then there's two, and then there's five, and then there's like hundreds.
That did make me laugh though, a little bit as well, because it's like, oh, it's just a few, and it's just kind of just going around, and then the camera starts like, where did all those birds just come from? You heard
those are probably among. Those are probably my favourite scenes for these as well. Like, just when she turns around and there's like about 50 crows there. Like, I was like, oh, okay. And like, I was not invested. I was not immersed. But I was like, I get where you're going with it. And I like what you're doing. And I wish I was old enough to appreciate this, but I don't. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Pat, what's your... Oh, sorry. No, go on, Rob. I was just fucking
right. I was like, oh, maybe my voice wasn't coming through.
No, it was. I heard you. I was just fucking you. No,
yeah, so my favourite silly scene is the one where Tippi Hedren's on the boat and you kind of like get her face in front of like a screen and she's just enjoying her boat ride. And then a seagull swoops down, messes her hair up, and then the guy on the shore's like, "Oh my god!" and then it cuts back to her, and she's like holding her head, and she's got like a spot of blood on her glove, and the guy on the shore's like still panicking, even though all that happened was a seagull came down and messed her fringe up. Yeah, that's my favourite silly scene. But my favourite serious scene is probably the ending, and like that's not an endorsement for getting birds drunk, but Yeah, just like just all of the birds around the car and stuff like that. It's just like a really cool visual, I think. So yeah, that's my two.
I hope no birds were run over.
Yeah, that's the
Like-
point.
Me
Actually,
too.
it probably was a few. I wouldn't at all be surprised if there was a few that were run over because of that.
Also, the fact that like 3,200 birds roughly were trained for this like film were used.
Yeah.
I was just like, that was mental. Yeah.
What was that?
Nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
Right, who wants to go next? Humphrey or Patrick?
Me.
Sorry, Patrick. Humphrey called it first. You're gonna have to
Fine.
wait.
It's fine.
No, you're gonna have to wait.
I was gonna say
You have to wait, Patrick.
my
Sorry.
Shut
favourite
up.
silly scene is got to be the phone booth where she's like, "Oh, oh," and then she tries to get out, even though they're like fucking hitting every side and they're trying to actually kill him. She's like, oh, oh. And then she opens the door a bit, and one gets in. And she's like, oh. She's like, "For fuck's sake." But no, I think because there's bits of it that really, I wouldn't say chilled me, but it was like, oh, that's a bit tense. And it was like the shots of the birds, and it was just quiet. Like the one I like the most is the bit when they're on the gym thing, like the climbing frame. And then she keeps looking away, and then one more appears, and then when she goes back, the whole thing's covered. I think that's really good. But yeah, that was my two favourite.
I like that this is a thing this week that like we've got an unintentional favourite and a favourite.
Yeah. I gotta say, the honourable mention is definitely her getting hit in the head by nothing, and then she's like, "Oh, my fringe, it's now a bit stuck on my head." Oh. Yeah, it's so random, but yeah.
Okay, Patrick, now you can go.
Probably my favorite sort of unintentional moment, I've already mentioned it to Rob, was when the birds attacked the mum's dad, and she walks into the room and his eyes are gone, and then she's come out, and like her way of being upset really tickled me.
But the fact that she's running,
she's running as if someone's broken her leg as well. I was just sitting there just uncontrollably laughing. I know it's supposed to be sort of a serious thing, but
so distraught that she got cramp.
My favorite actual scene is probably the whole it's probably the whole school sequence. So when all the crows are on the climbing frame, and then they try to usher all the kids out of school, that whole 5-minute segment I really enjoyed. I really appreciated that.
And then you get the chase scene, which is completely fucking stupid.
I found all the kid actors. I could not deal with them because like when she's waiting for them to stop singing, and I was like, oh, we're gonna hear this whole fucking song.
Oh yeah,
fickety wellity, fickety flellity, fickety wellity, wickety wellity, wickety 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 wickety. I was like, shut the fuck up.
I told you to mark the black, to do wickety wickety.
You know what got me with that?
It's so bad. It is of the times though.
But then
so
she goes
bad.
in and she goes, we got to evacuate the building. And she goes, okay. And she goes, now children, we're all going to leave. And they all go, leave? And she goes, yes, you have to go home. And they go, home? And she goes, the birds are going to attack you. And they go, birds? And I was like, Jesus
But the
I
best
don't think
thing
she
is-
actually says the birds are going to attack them.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Yeah, I'm just.
But I
I
get the
repeat
point. Yeah.
everything she says back at them, like, what? And I was like,
But the best thing is all their mouths are out of sync as well. What they're saying doesn't actually get said.
There's one kid in the front who does not give a fuck. He's just standing there going,
That's Alec.
"That's-"
It's good to have some kids, some personality differences up in the mix.
There were no personality differences. They all just look different shades of mentally deficient.
No, that's just rude. Some of those kids were going through it. This is the one who fell in the ground. She was like, Kathy.
Oh, another bit that got me was when the kid's getting attacked in the at the party, and she's face down with a bird like poking at her back.
Yeah, she's keep. I know which one you're talking about. She just keeps kicking her legs.
Yeah,
And they get the bird off her, and she goes,
it's just poking her in the back, and she's like, oh. What the fuck? Oh,
"I hate
The
it."
horror.
the bird
The
attack.
horror.
No one believes them, and then some bloke blows up, and they're like, "Fuck!"
Some bloke blows up.
And then it becomes real.
Oh yeah.
And then the old lady, that was it. That's all I wanted to say. It was about the old lady. So I didn't realize in the bird shop about the nature kind of mankind taking advantage until the woman was harping on about it and kept saying, oh, it's basically humans' fault. Like whatever's happening, it's a human's fault. Like they wouldn't just be doing this for no reason. Like this doesn't make any sense. And then you had the guy demonstrating the human behavior of just take a gun and wipe them out.
American behavior.
American behavior. And
Not
so
human.
that's the only point where I was just like, I see the angle, like, and also throughout the film, every time, even like the dumb local police guy, who's obviously so dumb, because nothing happens around there. They just appointed him because he's the only one who could be bothered to do the job where nothing happens. he's like Chief Wiggum, but stuff doesn't actually happen compared to Chief Wiggum where he actually needs to be doing stuff. But anyway, he's like that. And then everyone keeps blaming the person, like, oh, you had fish. Oh, you must have startled them. Oh, you must have done this. There was always a blame on the person, not this could happen. Obviously the whole film wasn't focused on that. I thought it was just I say plot device. I thought it was just something to be used by certain characters as a way to be like, no, I can't believe that this is happening. Because to be honest, if someone just randomly came up to you back then, when you might, before 1961, and told you this happened, you might be like, you sure like the kids didn't just scare them or do something to them to annoy them? Kids be kids. You sure X, Y, and Z didn't do this or blah, blah, blah. Why would they do that? Because obviously they haven't seen it. And there's just one or two people. Yeah, it does, like, it depends if they know the police were involved or different things. Because they didn't know, but they just thought, yeah, there's just stories. It's hearsay, whatever. Until it actually happens to them, and they're just like, crap. This actually happened.
I was gonna say, I felt like they was gonna push it that the lovebirds were actually instigating the other birds being evil. Because they say to her, oh yeah, it's only started when you turned up and she brought them birds with her. It would be an interesting plot point you can have these birds that are basically making them go crazy. That would be, say, logical, but it'd make a little bit of sense. Whereas it doesn't. There's no explanation for them being crazed. But another thing that gets me with these films is there's always a crazy religious bloke who's like, it's the end of the world because it's just it's in the Bible, and it's like.
I did love that line though, where the woman's like, "I hardly think a few birds are going to cause the end of the world."
Yeah.
He's Irish and a drunk.
End of the world. And when he quoted, the thing is, there was a few scriptures I recognized. He was talking about, but the birds, he feeds the birds. What was it?
He takes care of the sparrows, so of course he takes care of you.
Yeah, he takes care of the sparrows. They don't feed themselves. It was some quote about God feeds the birds, and I was just like, but why are you saying this? This is it's not relevant. Why are you saying this?
It's got birds in it. It's relevant.
This is so out of context. Like, can you just be quiet? Keep your
So that
thoughts.
was the point of that character.
Yeah, saying that with Dan, like those characters probably came from films like these. Just having the crazy guy right there who's like, it's the end of the world. Just, and then you never hear from him again. He's just used to one part of the film. Oh man.
I do like the idea of like just having like you just well, you do Star Wars and you just shoot some guy on Alderaan and he's like, Death Stars, the end of the world, aren't they? You know what Death Stars? They say it in the Bible. They do. Death Stars will kill you. They will. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
It was definitely an interesting pick.
Yeah, I think we have to say that, like, in terms of a film club pick, this is a brilliant one.
Oh yeah. I would never say this was a waste of a week. I had a fun time watching it, despite the fact I didn't like it.
I think it's been a good call as well.
Yeah. I know I've talked a lot, but I always do. So
yeah, that's what you do.
I just moan and I moan, and everyone has to deal with it.
So Rob,
I'm gross.
On that note.
Oh wait, we need to do nomination points first.
Oh yeah. I'll put them in. Humphrey, what do you nominate for this round? Your choices are Mars Attacks, Edward, and others. I mean, Blowout,
Exit.
Let the Right One In, or I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which is
it's got to be Mars Attacks.
Fuck you all day. I hate you. I hate everything you stand for, you fucking whoosh. Mars Attacks. God, you're so fucking crap. I hate you. Right, with that in mind, Emmanuel, what would you like to nominate for this round? Your choices are Back to the Future. You can't pick Let the Right One In. Back to the Future, Edward, Blowout.
Edward.
Hang on. I'll start again. Back to the Future, Edward. Blowout. Mars Attacks.
Edward.
I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. Or
Edward.
the birds.
Saying that as a random reference, when I was on the film set, I gave the idea of someone was doing a theater class, like, and I gave them the idea of doing Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, like a scene from it. So it was one of their possible kind of scene ideas they was going to play out. So that was cool.
That's your pick.
So you wanted I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. as you
No, Edward.
Yeah.
I'm hearing I don't feel at home in this world.
Edward.
Yes,
Not your film. Edward.
But you didn't have to specify.
I don't feel at home in this club anymore.
That's what John felt.
Yeah, that's a definite John. Right, so 2 points to Ben. So Ben is now beating my record for nomination points accumulated over an entire near 2 years. So thanks everybody.
Nice one.
Good job.
I like some of the trivia. Like sorry, are you still doing nomination points?
No, we've all done
No,
ours.
done
It was
enough.
just you two.
Okay, sorry, thanks. The fact that at the premiere, the people were greeted by the sound of screeching and flapping birds from the loudspeakers hidden in the trees to scare them further.
Yeah, that made me laugh. I thought that was really cool.
That's just horrible. You go into a film premiere and then it's just it's just like, what
Sound
the
in the film. Like the screeching near the end.
yeah, that was not pleasant. And you're just chilling outside and then you get all these screeching on loudspeakers. Screeching on loudspeakers is never a good thing. Some people was probably scared, but some people probably just pissed off. Like, can you turn off? That's a horrible sound. That's just annoying.
So Rob,
You know what else is annoying? It's Mars Attacks getting so much praise, despite being a shit film for twats. Anyway, yeah, no,
It was
sorry,
a
Rob. What's your
parody.
film?
You can't say that about it. Was meant to be bad, and it did well at being bad. It had the right balance
Of being bad.
It was a well-produced bad movie.
It's blue.
It got an 8 for story from someone. I don't want to say who.
some guy. Some guy.
His name, and I will just call him out here. His name was Whoosh. Fucking 8. Oh god, Mars Attacks got so many 7s.
But we can say
It
congratulations.
was decent.
More
to-
7s than it deserved, really. It was more of a 4.
Congratulations
Oh.
to Dan for winning this round.
Yeah, congratulations
Dan's
to Dan
Dan's done.
for fucking Whoosh. Whoosh is the best sound effect, and it deserves to be up there as a winner of a round. Along with, let me name things that have won rounds. I'll have to find things that have won rounds. Give me a second. Give me a minute. Just hold on. Just
I'm
hold
even wearing my DeLorean watch.
Just told you. Who
Just
said
for the
what?
occasion.
Great Scott.
Oh no, it's very ticklish. I'll drop this.
Back to the Future really deserves to be named among Blind Spotting, The Truman Show, Big Fish, Evil Dead, Soul. Most of these are Rob picks. Pulp Fiction, Seven, Howard the Duck, Black Klansman, Snatch, Jaws, Train to Busan, 12 Angry Men, and Whoosh.
That's interesting, actually, because now Leah Thompson has won every round that she's been in.
Yeah. Yes, she has.
Mm.
I felt bad for her, because she got her bum out for Howard the Duck.
We've all been there.
We have all been there.
No, we haven't.
We needed some
in this
athletes tape
category.
for that butt. Sorry.
Okay.
Right, well, what's your film?
Hey,
What's your double bill film?
yeah, it's my double bill. And
Oh, I forgot to.
so there's 3 layers as for why I'm like putting this double bill together.
3 layers to
That's
this
not
double bill.
It's
So-
layer cake.
The first layer is that it's my 2 favorite Stephen King adaptations.
Oh,
The second layer is that one of the films is Stephen King's favorite Stephen King adaptation, and the other one is Stephen King's least favorite Stephen King adaptation. which I thought was kind of funny.
And as an
And then-
extra, it's already been mentioned in this call.
And then the third layer is that.
Oh,
And then the third layer is that, as you guys know, I'm not very good with horror films. So what I usually like to do is watch a horror film and then watch a more light-hearted film after to take my mind off it. And this is the kind of pairing that I'd usually do for that. So the first film is The Shining, and the second film is Stand By Me.
Stand by me.
Who were they made by or written by?
They're
Stephen?
both
Oh, so they're
Stephen.
Stephen King, but they were. Sorry,
King.
me really sad.
but they sorry, someone adapted the books basically.
Yeah, so the Shining is Stanley Kubrick, and then Stand By Me is Rob Reiner.
And Stand By Me is his least favorite.
No, Stand By Me is his favorite. The Shining's his least favorite.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
it's
Shining. He thinks The Shining's the worst thing that's ever happened to him.
I was looking for a quote of like I was looking for a
Man.
Stephen King quote on The Shining, and the best one I found was I didn't think much of it.
it's also quite
bit.
nice because we've now been doing film clubs so long that we can go The Shining, directed by the director of Clockwork Orange, and Stand By Me, directed by the director of Princess Bride.
Oh.
Don't you fucking cringe at Princess Bride or come over to your house again.
It's
I haven't seen it. Though it makes me think of when you said you didn't think much of it. It makes me think of the interview where R.R. Martin. What's it?
G.R.R. Martin.
G.R.R. Martin, who just finished Elden Ring with some other people, and that's
Oh, he
meant
did
to be
Elden Ring?
freaking amazing. Yeah, that's why he stopped writing the last book.
No, I didn't know that.
He got involved with Elden Ring, and now it might win awards as well. Like people are lauding the game and stuff. They really love it, like reviews and everyone. It's got the highest Metacritic score of all games of all time so far.
Oh, wow.
You mean it got more than Game of Thrones season 8?